best things about trading long indices and long bonds is the synergy that setup or those pair of setups create. What's really cool is the ZB futures, which can also be traded via TLT, and the S&P futures, which can also be traded by the SPY or micro S&P. These are heading in the same direction. Not that that forecasts a move to 4,000, but it does forecast better follow through. Trade in the direction of the bonds. Usually the bonds will have the higher probability outcome, which is to say if bonds are weak, heading lower on the TLT or ZB, don't go buy indices. Look for short setups. And if bonds are strong like they are today, look for the long side. And that synergy is really going to help with follow through. So when we take a look at the volume levels in the S&P that got us long the calls, well, the best complement to this is to find either first or around the same time a way to get into ZB, a way to get into bonds. Same idea, right? Now, I do love to give traders an opportunity to think, do I want to go with the futures contracts, which are pretty leveraged, or can we simply just alternatively go with TLT calls? Gang, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Whichever you want to go. This to me is still a great big futures trade, but I can control risk a little bit better here. It's also lower cost. Here, I'm going to get better leverage, so there is a trade-off. You know, I get a lot more horsepower out of that ZB, but I've got to be willing to take some heat if I get in at a couple different levels, and then I'm going to also have to give the market a little bit of cushion because I'm not going to smother the trade with a very tight stop. I have to respect the volatility. Meaning that as long as, say, the zero, the mean of the V-score is holding, I need to be willing to hold that ZB futures contract. It is easier to hold the TLT. So once we have the S&P via the SPY, which shortly after the bell, then we want to look at, as you can see here, not too long after, about 15 minutes later, now we're building that TLT position. I want to show everyone one other thing. I'm not looking at TLT, nor am I looking at SPY to build the position. The only reason it ever makes sense to look at TLT, and this is if you're an ETF trader on options or if you're a futures trader, the only reason to look at TLT is to figure out, well, what strike am I going to play? And you can see here, I want an at or slightly in the money. Well, this tells me I need to have the 100 strike, and that's exactly what we did. But we're watching the ZB for that fill. And that's exactly what we want to do. Look how far in advance, though, we were prepared for this. And I think that's another thing a lot of people mistake day trading for. In and out, in and out. You need quick fingers. Hello, world's most boring day trader right here. We're talking about this shortly after 10. We didn't actually get our opportunity to see the trade form. Let's go back to the ZB. We did not even get that opportunity until, gosh, 30, 40 minutes later. And that's fantastic because that gives all of us some time to look at the risk, denominate that risk to dollars, and understand the impact to our account. One of the reasons a lot of day traders blow up, gang, is because they don't take the time to do that because their trading style does not afford that. With a low, we saw at 126.01. We did not get the 125.31. That's a bummer, but we easily got 126.03. Never left the wave. TLT 100 calls are an easy, and we had almost 2 different candles pushing lower into that to get the opportunity to get long. This is what I love to do, the synergy between bonds and indices and being very prudent, giving yourself time, waiting for the pitch to be across the plate in exactly the spot that you're looking for it, right here. You know, we knew what our pitch was and we waited for it. So I hope that makes sense in terms of the way that we want to be day traders in this market. Everything else, gang, this is the market doing the heavy lifting. So I'm not going to run a victory lap because the market decided to, really be in my favor. I'm going to give myself credit for knowing the directional bias, seeing the synergy between indices and bonds, and following my process. Rinse and repeat, follow the process. And that is the way we trade intraday in the most boring and really effective way possible. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.